Hello everyone and welcome back to another Baldur's Gate 3 video. So today we've got some more tips and tricks for you. Now yes, some of you may already know these tips, but a lot of players just starting to play the game probably aren't aware of these. If there are any tips I haven't mentioned in this video, feel free to leave a comment down below. So the first tip we're going to be talking about is something that I see people not utilising enough, and that is the use of the Alt key. Now the Alt key will bring up all the items around your area, some of them that you may miss and you might not miss. So as you can see here, we've got a whole load of items. So the red ones here are ones that will be still in action, so we do want to avoid them. And then your white ones here are just items that are free to pick up. Now using the Alt key is really handy if you are looking for certain items in certain rooms, for instance. In here there's quite a few hidden around. But this one here, the warn letter, I wouldn't have known that was there if I hadn't have used the Alt key. Next tip I have for you guys, which I don't see everyone using either, and that's utilising the Shift key. Now the Shift key brings up everyone's field of view and field of vision. This is perfect if you just want to sort of steal some items from vendors. As you can see here, we are pretty hidden in this area here, and the red is their line of sight. Something to also bear in mind with using Shift key. As you see this little icon by the cursor, that is how visible you are. So it's fully white at the moment, which means it's really light and fully visible. And then if we move the cursor over here where it's a bit darker, you can see it only goes halfway. So we are a bit more hidden in this area as well. Now the Shift key can also be utilized with enemies as well. So if you have more of a stealthy build just like myself, I create more damage with my stealth attacks. Now instead of just clicking hide and the action failing because I'm in the plain line of sight, I can use Shift and I can find the best place to go. So I am definitely hidden. So we can head on up here, and from here I definitely know I am hidden. So I can then use the hide action, and that will be successful because I know I'm definitely out of the line of sight of enemies. Now combat brings us on to the next sort of tips. Now did you know that you can actually right click and examine enemies, and this will bring up information like their HP, their armor class, and also more importantly their resistances. So now we know that this one has necrotic resistance. Now what we can do as well, instead of right clicking, if we just hover over and press the key T, that also brings up the menu as well. That's just a little bit quicker, but it's whatever you find more comfortable. That brings us on to the next tip, and that is the use of and combining different elements. So with Shadowheart here, we can use create or destroy water, which will create water. We can do that over here, which then, as you will see, this makes the target wet, which prevents from burning, resistance to fire damage, but vulnerable to lightning and cold damage. So we can then combine that with either a lightning spell or an ice spell. We will go for a lightning spell, and that will cause this one to receive more damage. So as you can see there, it suffered considerable more damage. Another one like create water that I see that's not used very often is this spell here, Grease. Now it can cover the ground and it will slow creatures within and possibly make them fall prone, just like any ices, but there's another way that you can utilize Grease. So if we pop it down here, as you see, we've completely coated the ground in Grease now. We've coated the ground in Grease, we can use a simple firebolt spell. So we can get a firebolt spell, and if we just attack the ground just over here, and as you will see, it will set all the grease on fire with an explosion. So now we've coated that whole area in fire damage and caused these enemies here to be burning. So as you can see, you can utilize different environments. The water one is really handy. If for instance I decided to use grease and I no longer wanted to grease there because I wanted to move a party through, I can use create water, and what that will do is wash away the grease that's on the floor. This will be used for poison and obviously for putting out fires as well. So everyone knows that we can use silence to silence enemies to enable them to stop using magic, but did you know there's other utilities for using silence? So say for instance we wanted to be sneaky and we wanted to kill this goblin without alerting any of his fellow goblins. What we can do is we can cast a silence on him just like this. Now this whole sphere, everything inside it is silenced. So what we can do is we can head round and we can sneak up on him, and we can do a sneak attack on him. His cries and his yelps that he will do as he dies just like that won't be heard by anyone else around him. Now another way that silence can be utilized is if we have a broken wall that we want to destroy without alerting attention. Cast silence, and we will silence everything inside this sphere, which makes us unnoticeable. So there we go everyone, and there are 6 more useful tips and tricks to improve your gameplay in Baldur's Gate 3. If you found them helpful, make sure you hit that like button. If you have any other more tips, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. It's been Kryptonite here, and I will see you in the next video.